You ever have one of those days where your meds hit just right? You're moving smooth, you're feeling strong, and you almost forget that you even have Parkinson's? And you think, wow, I'm really doing great today. And then 3 hours later, it's like somebody pulled your batteries out. Yeah, that's what I call the dopamine illusion. Because sometimes feeling amazing isn't the victory, it's the setup. Stick around because today we're going to talk about why that happens, what your brain's actually doing, and how to keep your balance before the crash hits.
Welcome to Living with Parkinson's. The good, the bad, and the reality. Real talk, real life, real community with Bryce Perry. Let's begin.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Living with Parkinson's, the good, the bad, and the reality. Now, if you're new here, I'm Bryce, and around here, we talk about the real stuff. We laugh about it, we learn from it, and we live through it together. Now, if that sounds like something you need in your week, why don't you hit subscribe? It's free, it helps the channel grow, and it tells the YouTube that Parkinson's stories actually matter. Okay, let's get into this. Let's talk about dopamine and why it's both your best friend, excuse me, and your biggest troublemaker. Now, here's the thing. Dopamine isn't really a happy chemical. It's an anticipation chemical. It's what makes you want to move, want to talk, and want to connect. It's that little, hey, something good's coming spark in your brain. Now, in Parkinson's, that spark gets weaker, which is why things take more effort. So when your meds hit and that dopamine flows again, your brain's like, yes, let's go. Right? And that's the moment that you start cleaning, you start organizing, or maybe you start mowing the lawn, fixing the car, answering emails because you feel alive again. You're signing up for things that you would normally wouldn't. And honestly, I get it because it feels incredible to just feel normal again. But here's where it gets tricky. That burst of dopamine, it doesn't mean you suddenly have more energy. It means that your brain's temporarily feels like it does. It's like your body giving you a free sample of normal, but it still expects payment later. So what do? We spend it all because we're human. We finally feel good and we don't want to waste it. But that's when the dopamine illusion gets us and the crash starts creeping in. Now, here's how I explain it. Dopamine's got a credit card. And and every time you push through, every time you overdo it, every time you skip a rest or you're swiping that card and the bill, it always shows up. Let me tell you, I've learned the hard way so many times. Last week, for example, I had one of those great days. Everything was firing right. And so I thought, perfect. I'll tackle everything that I've been putting off. Winter's coming, right? I cleaned, I worked, I reorganized, I even decided to make dinner. And by mid afternoon, I could barely move. And that's when it hit me. I just spent tomorrow's dopamine today. So now, when I feel that high, I try to stop and I ask myself this. Do I really need to do all of this right now? Or do I just finally feel capable again? Because those two are two very different things. And that's the tricky part, right? Because in that moment, your brain's like cheering you on. It's like, yeah, let's do it. It feels like motivation, but really, it's momentum on credit. Now, let's get a bit nerdy for a second. I promise this one's worth it. When dopamine floods the brain, it creates that rush of movement and motivation. But if you use it too quickly, the receptors that receive dopamine, they start to shut down for protection. That's why you suddenly feel tired and stiff and foggy. Your system is literally resetting. Hmm. So it's not that you lost it or did something wrong. Your brain just went, okay, that was fun, but we're closing early tonight. And here's the cool part. Balance brings it back faster. When you learn to pace yourself, your dopamine system stabilizes. It stops swinging between everything and nothing. So, weirdly enough, resting isn't being lazy. It's actually dopamine training. Oh, I've got some big ones today. Now, I'll be honest. This took me years to figure out because I'm a doer. When I feel good, I want to do things. I go all in. But every time I overdid it, I paid for it later. So I started experimenting with what I call steady state living. Big words today. Steady state living is basically pacing on purpose. Instead of trying to stretch my on times as long as I possible, I focus on keeping my energy consistent. Now, that means like short bursts of activity, planned rest breaks, music or humor in between tasks to reset my brain. Think of it like learning to surf. You don't fight the waves, you ride them. At least that's what I hear. When I started doing that, I noticed something wild. My off times weren't as brutal anymore because I wasn't draining the tank every time I felt full. And that's the secret. Balance isn't boring, it's freedom with a strategy. Now, speaking of balance, Carmen's got her own take on the dopamine days. So, this is what she asked me to tell you. You can always tell when Bryce's dopamine kicks in. He goes from zero to full renovation mode in about 5 minutes. I just stand back and I think, okay, let's see how long this lasts. I used to try to stop him. I'd tell him to rest or pace himself, but that just made him want to do it more. That's the rebel. Anyway, so now I don't manage the dopamine. I manage the recovery. I make sure he's got food ready. I have food ready for him, space to crash, and nothing important later on that day. Because the goal isn't to stop the highs, it's to soften the fall. Wow. And that honestly is one of the best lessons I've learned from her. You can't just stop the highs. You shouldn't, but you can prepare for them. Because when you do, you start enjoying those good days without paying the price afterwards. That was really good, Carmen. I went right in. I was so excited. I went right into my own little soliloquy there, but that was really good. I appreciate that. Now, that was Carmen's Care Partner Corner. Now, if we have a ton of people that are doing this journey alone, I call them my solo warriors. So now, for the solo warriors out there, I've got one for you. Now, there's something one of our inner circle members, not a friend of mine told me one time, and it really struck me. And they called it their dopamine anchor. It's just a short list of small grounding activities that you can do when you hit that crash. Things that remind your brain that you're okay. Stuff like folding laundry or making tea, watering plants, calling a friend, journaling, or just playing music. The idea is when you do something familiar, your brain releases predictive dopamine. It calms your system and it helps you stabilize. So if you live alone, write down your own list of your anchors. Okay. And when that wall hits, instead of saying, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "Which anchor can I grab right now?" Because that's how you pull yourself back into rhythm. That's exactly small tasks that you know. You see, the dopamine illusion isn't about weakness, it's about misunderstanding how our brains work. Feeling great, it doesn't mean that you're cured. It means that your system is firing for now. And that's all we want, right? Just to fire, your system firing. And that's worth celebrating. But the real win is learning how to stretch that balance, how to take a good day and turn that good day into a good week. Because Parkinson's is unpredictable, but your response doesn't have to be. That's just an amazing when you think about it. Parkinson's is all over the place, but we can learn to have our responses. So no matter what it throws at us, we have a response. Oh, wait a minute. This is this. There's my anchor. Wait, this is this. This is what, that's how you win. That's what takes a good day and makes a good week. And that's what takes a good week and makes a good month. You know what I mean? Okay. If you made it this far, you unlocked today's Bryce-ism. And I really like this one. And if you're ready, here it is. Okay. Dopamine. No, dopamine is like a good salesman. It makes big promises, it closes the deal fast, and then it disappears when it's time for the paperwork. I like that one. Okay, this week, try living in rhythm instead of in reaction. And when you wake up feeling great, don't sprint, glide. Enjoy it, protect it, and spread it out. And if you do happen to crash, just remember, it's not your fault. It's just chemistry reminding you that you're actually human. Comment below and tell me this. What helps you keep your balance when your dopamine wants to sprint? I read every single one. I love learning from you all. I'm a little behind getting back to everybody, but I will. Trust me. And you know what? If you want to go deeper, join the inner circle. It's where these real conversations, they just keep on going. You can find it in the links in the description below. There is a free trial, so you can come on in, check it out. No harm, no foul. But if you'd rather keep going, if you want to go deeper, that's the place to be. And don't forget, if you haven't already, please subscribe. I put out new episodes every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every Saturday at 9 a.m. Plus, we have a live on Sunday at noon. And until next time, thank you. Thank you so much for being with me. And I want you to keep showing up. I want you to keep laughing. And I want you to keep doing life today. We'll see you next time.